are not going to be of much use. The hope he had was using those wraiths to actually kill some SCVs off before, of course. Stop producing stuff out of the barracks and let it die already. Jesus Christ. He's going to push back and hopefully claim his natural now again. He's going to have siege mode on his tank. He's going to clear the mines. Please tell me you're going to clear the mines before blowing up. But it's looking pretty grim. I don't think Fantasy's lost a lot of units, except maybe a few SCVs from the Firebats, but losing a barracks in the return. So I think, yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. Look at all those vultures. They haven't been, well, they haven't been killed at all. They've left out of their own free will almost outside of that base. Now some tanks there, of course, because there has been some macro. There's going to be a lot of tanks on Really side. See, Really, I'm just going to say his entire name, because there's not a lot of tanks on Fantasy's part of the map here. Look at that. A lot of siege tanks going in, pushing him further. Actually losing some units now for the first time. That's a nice thing to have. And I think because of he's building those Goliaths, a couple of those Goliaths should have been tanks. Should have been at least one tank or two tanks. There's the raid's still going to be irritating, actually harassing the expansion attempt of Fantasy. And let's see what C is going to do. That was not intended again. Fucking hell. It's just despite English commentators there. Anyway, let's see what... I can't really get a grasp of how many units Fantasy has, because he has expanded, so he's going to be down in the count a little bit. He's got less tanks, but there's no way in hell. There's only now some more factories going down for C. He's been suffering a lot. I don't... Oh, God, please, Fantasy, don't let this one slip.
Yeah, Fantasy, he really needs to push home this advantage here. He's got the economic advantage, but he's just losing on the army side of things here. He does have that barracks out in the field, which is going to help him a lot with spotting, whereas... yeah, there's that Wraith there finally coming in. So that Wraith is going to be able to do the spotting on the opposite side of things for Really. And Fantasy has got that third expansion going up there. I know that SCV, I think it got picked off, so he had to send up another one, delaying it a little bit. But that's not going to do much good, considering Really doesn't have a third base of his own going up. So Fantasy is going to come out ahead regardless. And yeah, so he's just got to push home this advantage. He's got to get more tanks in the field, though. He's only got one tank there, whereas Really has, I think, about 6. He's got a couple in the back there, so he's got about 6, yeah. And there's finally some tanks coming up there. Now comes the part where they start etch-a-sketching all over the map here, drawing their lines, and just seeing who comes out with the majority of it. And I think, though, with this economic advantage, the line is going to be able to extend a lot quicker for Fantasy. So he's going to start that arc, and he's going to start taking that 12 o'clock position, which it is going to come down to in a 3-player map like this, which I love for Terran versus Terran. It doesn't turn into something boring like a 4-player map where it just goes, both players take half of the map. There is no half of the map on this one. There is thirds of the map, so whoever takes the 2/3 comes out ahead. And Really actually doing some nice troop positioning there with those mines and such. So yeah, that arc actually starting up for Really now, Really taking the advantage here, arcing around that 12 o'clock position as well as sectioning off that 6 o'clock position. So Really actually coming out a little bit ahead here, and switching to Wraiths now is Fantasy. So a little bit late on the Wraith tech, but I think he's going to be effective with it, because I didn't see a lot of Goliaths in the field there for Really. And now Really just setting up his third expansion, or his third base there now, and that armory coming up as well. So just now getting his third base up, he's going to be definitely behind at this point. Fantasy already mining from that third base, and Really's going to have to float that sucker over there. And we all know Command Center is not exactly the speediest thing on Earth, so or whatever their planet they're fighting on right now. But regardless, Really doing really nice with his macro here and pushing in here. Wow, he's going to take the middle of the field, it looks like. A lot of mines going off here, but nice micro. Oh, gross mine there. Anti-effectiveness on that mine for Really, but interesting. I don't know who's necessarily ahead here.
I think it's pretty much evened out already, because I think maybe, like I said, people don't take my word for this, but I think Fantasy took his expansion. It was a little bit too greedy there, because he should have macroed up a force, and I think he could have ended it right there instead of going for, well, of course, 400 minerals isn't everything, of course, but I think, yeah, it was a bit too passive when he had C in his natural there. with all the mines and with the command center up, because that command center wasn't doing anything. Then he backed off, tried to take the map himself instead of pushing through and just ending it right there. And then of course with the 2-fac build that C was having, he already built macroed up a large force quickly. Now C is really pushing forward here. He's got the more units. I don't know what the macro, because of course the Wraith switch here is now incoming for Fantasy. There was little less of troop counts here now, but oh god, those tanks aren't defended, and I don't see any anti-air. I don't think he's suspected this. Fantasy again doing a gay little strategy. Well, basically doing exactly what C was doing. He's not ready for this. He doesn't have any Goliaths. He's losing all the tanks he's been macroing up so far. He's losing them immediately, and that's gonna be really painful. That's gotta be at least a control group already that he's lost, and I hope he's got an armory up already. Because if he's not, he's gonna lose every single, well, yeah, everything. Not even the SCVs can repair here, and Fantasy is just gonna push back all the way. Even the command center is now being under attack here. Look at C. Oh dear God, you did not build an armory. That's just one of the more painful things in StarCraft, when you've coming back, you've clawed your way back, and look at that. He's back inside the base with the Wraiths. Rubbing them in his face. There come the first 2 Goliaths. But guess what, mate? Your SCVs are blowing up. So I don't think it's... Oh god. Yeah, I think he already lost one of those. That command center he already had floating around there has already died. He probably will be able to repel this one, but he's lost the Goliaths again apparently. No, there's still some... But yeah, he's got to contain on that, and GG, yeah, that's over.
There it is. Wow, like you said, a gay little strategy coming from my boy Fantasy. Very nice though. That was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Forcing the tanks there coming out from, or not really forcing, but noticing that there were going to be a lot of tanks being produced from really there, and just switching into Wraiths, and yeah, there's 2 wins, exactly. You know how to count, Fantasy. Good for you, man. So sweet.
God, but it's C's loss. It's C's loss. A freaking armory. Hi, you're playing a TVT. You don't have an armory?
Well, I got one later, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. SKT1 apparently has a book. If anyone's feeling generous, you could just, buy me that book. That would be sweet. Anyways, yeah. So Fantasy, moving on. He's gonna possibly looking at an ult kill here for Fantasy. So yeah, see you guys in set 3.